Hello everybody. I got some time. I thought I'd make a couple videos. I posted a little bit about your buying equipment and how to buy equipment, and nobody can tell you really what you need except for you and a little help maybe from somebody from a dealer. But I need to specifically touch on tractors more than anything else, and some guidelines that I went by. Well, that's not true. I can give you some guidelines because after I bought my tractor, things I wish somebody would have told me before I had bought my tractor to look out for. Couple of things when I was buying my tractor is, and I had no idea. I'd been around tractors some. I knew I wanted a John Deere because, like I said before, the parts availability, the service availability, the quantity of dealerships that we have. One of the things that I did, just simple knowledge, was when I got in or started driving this thing around, I made sure the lights work, you make sure the brights work, you make sure your signals work if you have them. Kind of check to kind of see how old your batteries are, see how well it starts. One thing that I did when I bought this is I arrived what I would call kind of cold turkey, so they couldn't go out and put a heater on it or a battery booster or anything like that on it before I got there. I just got there, I had seen the tractor there before, and I just jumped on it, said let's see what it does, and it started up. I drove it around, figured out some of the electrical wasn't working on it. But a couple of things, like I said, the electrical's working good. Make sure it shifts good, make sure it throttles smooth and holds the throttle. Now your tractor is gonna be different than mine, but make sure it steers well. You shouldn't have any wobble on the front tires, or that indicates that you got some wear in your bearings. Check your oil, smell it, make sure it doesn't smell burnt and there's no fuel in it or water in it. Make sure your 3-point, this here little item, make sure that goes up and down smoothly. If it doesn't, now let me say that in the mornings, a lot of times the 3-point, especially when it's cold, it'll sit there and rattle. It'll go till you get the fluid going through it, and then it'll be fine and settle down fine. But these little things right here, most farmers do not take care of them. You grease them, make sure that they turn in here. And the reason for that is when you're hooking up a blade or a brush hog or something like that, these will hook to the 3-point. This one and this one will hook. And then you have your third link here that comes down. Well, a lot of times that'll sit crooked. So these are meant, sometimes these are just on one side, but in this case they're on two. So basically what this does is it enables you to move this up and down in here and the same over there, and it allows you to adjust the tilt on that so your blade isn't digging into your driveway when you're going down the road. You got a nice smooth, or mowing, it doesn't mow crooked, you have a nice smooth lay with the land. So make sure your hydraulic receptacles here are in good shape. I would look for caps on them that keeps them clean, that keeps them in good shape. But if it's possible, they should be able to demonstrate to you that this side and this side should work on a piece of equipment. You know, the other stuff is some of it is cosmetic. Make sure your seat's in good condition. Those particular seats right there run about $100 to replace them. Something to consider is, are your tires filled with calcium, or are they or do they have weights added to the outside? This particular tractor did not have calcium in the wheels. A lot of times you can tell by the insides of the rims will be corroded. That usually is a good indication that there's calcium in them. You'll see rust pits and stuff on the rim, usually here, sometimes in or farther. I don't need calcium on this particular tractor. It seems to hold everything. It doesn't get pushed around too bad. If I had a loader on it, you'd probably want them. My dad's tractor, the 1180, has calcium in them. They say nowadays that you can take the calcium out and put antifreeze in them and it won't corrode the metal on the wheels. So, you know, that's just a few things that you can check when you're looking at a tractor. Make sure, of course, running smooth, idle smooth, picks up and goes pretty smooth. Like I said, run through your gears, make sure they shift smooth and good. Generally, that's I mean, one thing that I didn't do that I should have done is take a flashlight and look inside your fuel tank. This particular tractor, I had issues with fuel when I got it, and I opened that up, put a flashlight down there, and somebody had thrown a bunch of twine and wire and stuff down in that fuel tank. I have no idea why. Maybe somebody was ticked at the deal. I don't know why. I had to take that off, cleaned it out, steam cleaned it with hot water, put it back on, and you keep it clean. Make sure has all your, all your caps, radiator caps good. Make sure your air cleaner is good on this particular tractor. That's right there. You take it apart and make sure the filters, what kind of filter it takes. If it's a diesel, a lot of times they'll use an oil bath. How's your rubber hoses on your radiator? Are they cracked? Are they hard? How does that look? Now, some of those radiator hoses are up here. A little more difficult to look at, but you can get a flashlight or a cell phone and take a peek up there and see. This particular tractor has a transmission release from the motor, so when it is real cold, you can pull it back and the tractor starts a little easier, and then you push this back in. I don't really use it. I usually keep a maintainer on it when it gets cold enough, so that's not a huge thing. A differential lock is kind of a nice feature. Pedal, you push it down, and both of your rear wheels will turn at the same speed. That's nice to have, especially if you're going to be plowing, or I really can't think of disking maybe. Both wheels will turn the same speed, and literally you really can't turn much until you hit that or hit the brakes and it'll pop it out of gear. But it's a nice feature to have. Check the hydraulic oil, check all your fluids. Your radiator fluid, you can check it with I can't think of what they call that meter, but you know what I'm talking about. You stick it in there, draw it up, see if it's got enough to at least get you by a year before you have to change it. Hydraulic fluid should be good color, clear, not nasty and dark. Your oil should be in good shape. Batteries should be in good shape. Batteries are expensive. You're looking at about $120 a battery. And if you have a diesel, that means ×2. That's just a few tips to give you an idea when and if the time comes you're shopping for a tractor. As I said in one of the previous videos, as much horsepower, you got to decide that for yourself and what you're going to be working with. I pull a 9-foot swather. This was adequate to pull that. Like I said, 4020 diesel, I would have probably even gotten a diesel, and a 3020 would have been a little better. But for what I pull with it, it works fine for what I have. I'm not a huge farmer. So this particular tractor pulls the 7-foot bush hog perfect. It runs the post hole digger perfect. Runs the sprayer perfect. So just some things to think about when you're looking for a tractor. I'm sure there's others, and I'm sure there's people on here that could add to this, and they're more than welcome to leave comments and add in their horror stories on what they should have looked for or didn't look for. But usually stuff like that, you figure, well, that's pretty, but it isn't. You know, headlights, tires, 3-point, it's expensive, especially if you just plop down $9,000–$10,000 on a tractor. If you like these videos, please share with your friends and enemies, subscribe, always welcome to leave comments, and we'll talk to you on the next one. Bye.